Guys, hi. Welcome to my channel, Asia here. Um, I trust all is well. You're all doing okay. Um, so today, we're gonna talk a little bit about thoughts, and from my perspective, what I've realized thoughts are. Um, so I've come to realize that our thoughts are not our own, and that the thought forms or thoughts are interconnected on a grid system, a memory grid system, and each of several memory grid system in fact, and each of these memory systems has a frequency um, to have access to these thought forms or patterns. And for me, what I was realizing that your frequency is actually how much memory or how much information your brain can process within like a minute or a second. And their brain exercises to get your brain to process more information in a lot less time than normal. And this is how the frequencies really work with the thought forms. So I've been channeling information about numbers 471 174 741, and I got those numbers like separate, but there's a light worker starseed shepherd, QV, um, who has been talking about the Schumann resonance for some time, and she's been showing a graph that the Schumann resonance has surpassed a certain amount of hertz for the past couple of months. And she made mention of 17.4, but I wasn't clicking that the information that I was getting, these numbers, was actually linked to that frequency of 17.4. And I've come to realize that it is at this, when you surpass that frequency level, meaning that your brain can process that amount of information in a second or a minute, so to speak, that's when you will be able to be connected to higher consciousness, higher stream thoughts, higher thought forms. And this is what it really boils down to, is about getting your body and your brain to be able to connect to certain thoughts. We're going to say higher thought forms or heavenly thoughts or higher vibrational frequency, so to speak. So it's really getting your brain to be able to process the amount of information that these frequency holds. So that was my little thing about thoughts and frequencies. And yes, thoughts are not our own, so to speak. There is a plethora of thoughts swirling around in the web every second or nanosecond. There are stream of thoughts, and we as human beings are like receptors. We can connect to whatever thought forms we want to connect to at any given moment. We have that choice. This is where free will comes in. And depending on that thought form that you anchor into or you hold on to, if you hold that thought form long enough, like 17 seconds, then your brain will automatically produce more thoughts in correlation to that original thought. So this is where you get inspiration from, and you can actually act upon your thoughts based upon how long you can hold the frequency. So it takes 17 seconds before a thought changes, before another thought come and join your present thought. So if you can hold a thought form for like 17 seconds, then automatically your brain will be anchored into that frequency and produce the thoughts from that. Now, for you as human beings, we get distracted easily. And if for any reason at all you get distracted during this 17 second that you're trying to hold, your brain will take 23 minutes to come back into focus on this thing that you were supposed to hold for 17 seconds. So um it's a cool exercise to do. I've tried it and it really does work. It's cool. I do a lot of self experimentation. I experiment on myself. I use a lot of binary brainwave, brain activation, music, high frequency music, especially binaural beats. Um, yeah, and the truth is, I realized this in my work life. I was working for a airplane company as a engineer. I worked with the engineers, but what I did was I made sure that the parts to fabricate the engine, the air part of the airplane engine, is up to the specification. It's meet the requirements that we ask them how to build that part, so we can actually give the customer quality. Well, I worked in quality control, and it was funny. It was my first experience in an engineering position in a huge company here in France, and I realized that the first day when they were, because they do something called formation before you start to work, so they show you how it works and stuff. And something interesting happened to me while I was there in that formation with the senior guy who was forming me. I don't remember how to say this in English. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so hooked to French. I can't remember certain English words. So it was like they're explaining to me, and if he said like to me, A, this is A and this is B, it's like my brain formulate without him telling me anything. My brain just rolls with A, B, C, D, E, F, G until Z, without this man explaining the rest of it. Just give me A and B, and the rest is history. Just keep tumbling, and I'm usually I'm usually correct. So they said that I learn fast. I'm a quick learner, and I guess it has to do with memory. I have good memory. My memory is like whole. Yeah, when you're meditating and have a lot of thoughts streaming in, it means that your attention is still with these thought forms. There is not a conclusion to whatever you're thinking about during your meditation. So this is why these thoughts are here, because what meditation actually does, it gets you to put you in a state of stasis where you run your own energy. So any other energetic form that is in your mind or around you, you will pick up on those because you become more sensitive, and it is just for you to be okay with them, or just you within that space you can end the experience there and bring back your attention to yourself to connect to your personal energy. So that was one way I used to improve my memory and how much information my brain can process. I use binaural beats, different binaural beats. There is tetra, and delta, and another form. I've used those. I started using those back in 2013, 2014. I didn't know why I was doing them, but I was doing them. I was just trusting my guidance at that time. And yeah, so I do that to improve my memory. Another way to improve your memory is don't smoke cannabis, because if you smoke you won't remember your dreams. Well, I don't know if it works for everybody, but it affects my memory. If I should smoke cannabis, my dream time, I don't remember what happens in dream time, but it doesn't affect my wake state, but just my dream state. um Another way to keep get your brain to be able to process a lot of information is to practice presence, and that is being in the present moment. Like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you have yourself there. You don't have your body there and then your mind is somewhere else. Keep your body, mind, and energy within the same space for in everything you do. Just practice presence. That in itself takes a lot less energy, and your brain needs a lot of energy to access memories, and your cells do as well. So practicing presence is a way to keep your energy level stable, not to get stressed out or stuff like that. Don't project too much in the future or back in the past, but keep present, keep your focus, whatever you're doing, be there. That's one way to improve your memory. And another thing is not to eat a lot of animal products, especially animal products that and the animals went through trauma. Because when you eat a lot of animal products, especially for animals that went through trauma, the memory in the cells of that animal, you ingest it and it becomes your own. And that in itself can take the body, uses a lot of energy to clear away that trauma, which is not yours, before you can actually access what is yours. And that in itself puts stress on the body, stress on the brain, and uses a lot of energy that you need to access your memory or to keep focus. So yeah, that's my 3 tips for now. I'll share more if needs be. So thanks for making it to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.